Italy Pro preview coming up. Big show.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
And we are live, and we are back with another edition of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo. Almost didn't make it today, but we did make it. And the we I'm talking about is Chris Aceto, the technician, and myself. And Chris, I had a Matt. You know how Prince wrote that song for the Bangles called "Just Another Manic Monday"?
Yeah,
Must have been Sunday. Must have been Fun Day or something.
Those start on Sunday for me.
Yeah, me too. This was. It started out all right, and then I went to the gym, and I about 6 months ago I was at the gym training, and I put my phone in my upper right pocket. That's just by convention where I keep it. But if you're going to do dumbbells and you put the dumbbells on your thighs, it's not a good idea because the dumbbell can crush the phone, right? And which has happened to me before. So now I don't put the dumbbell. I take the phone out of my right pocket, and I usually put it lean it against the bench, which is behind me, so that the dumbbells, they're not going to touch the phone. And I put the dumbbells up. I did my shoulder presses, and I put the dumbbells down, and one hopped a little bit. And I'm telling you, maybe 6 microns of the dumbbell skimmed the phone a little bit. And you would have thought that I hit the phone with a sledgehammer. The screen cracked. By the way, in case you've never cracked your screen, if you want to know, it's not just a crack. If you ruin your screen, it turns green first, and then after green, it goes black. And that's what happened again. And I was like, well, it's not going to be a good Monday for me. I can tell already, because the Apple store where you can get the replacement phone is in Coconut Point, which is towards Naples. It's like 45 minutes from me. So I make an appointment on the phone using my other phone I have, make an appointment. I get in the car, I drive there. I get there. They're like, you don't have, by the time they took me, which took another 45 minutes, they said, you don't have Apple Care. I said, of course I have Apple Care. I've had Apple Care since Apple started. I said, I know that I damaged goods. I said, I was just here 6 months ago. I said, I had Apple Care. To make a long story short, for some reason, when they gave me the new phone 6 months ago, they didn't transfer the Apple Care over to the new the new phone, which wasn't my fault. It was a clerical error, but clerical errors have to be corrected, via long phone calls, right? So I had to call Apple, and I had to show them that the phone was the same phone. It was just a replacement. And I had Apple Care. But the problem was, Chris, that the Coconut Point Apple store didn't have the phone that I have, the 1 terabyte one. And neither did Naples, and neither did Sarasota, as if I would have driven to Sarasota to get the phone, right? Which I might have had to do. So I have no phone now. I have no functional phone. It functions only on my car. When I'm in my car, I could actually make phone calls because the screen in the car works.
So I already know you've been in your phone in your car almost on your phone.
So thank God for so I think you called me. Oh no, I called you from the car. I said, call Chris Aceto because I can't type anything. And it called you. And I said, Chris, call me on the other phone. I said, because I have no way of contacting you, and we have to be able to do the show. So while I was driving back 45 minutes from Coconut Point to my house, I was on the phone with this woman the whole time who was facilitating and helping me to get this thing rectified. And in the meantime, all we were talking about was kids. She had 3 kids. I have 3 kids. We were just talking about all the insanity that goes on with the kids, right? Chris was just mentioning earlier to me, he's like, people who have a dog think that it's hard to take care of. You know, they have no idea what it's like to have 3. You have 4 kids, actually. So I said, all right, I got home. I said, I'm not going to get panicked. By the way, on the 45-minute car ride, no one was able to give me a solution to the fact that there's no iPhones available until they send me one in the mail in 2 to 3 business days, which is, you know what's going to happen. I'm leaving on Wednesday for Pittsburgh for the North American. You know the phone's going to come on Wednesday. I'll never get the phone. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I said, I can't function. I said, I get 6,000 text messages a day. How am I going to check my text messages and all the business I do on the phone? No one had a solution, Chris. All these, you know, they have the Genius Bar. Is it the Genius Bar? Yeah, the Apple Store. Yeah, all the geniuses in the Genius Bar, including the 500-pound guy that was sitting next to me, who was daintily. You ever see really heavy people eat? They're the most dainty eaters you've ever seen. They can unwrap a cupcake. It can take 20 minutes to unwrap that cupcake, and they take very little bites out of it. There's not a crumb that falls out of their lips. If you or I ate that cupcake, it would be all over our shirt. This guy must eat 6,000 cupcakes a day because he's 500 pounds. And I asked him, I said, this guy's got a solution for me. I said, listen, I don't have a phone. You don't have any replacements here. There's none around.
Yeah,
I can't wait 3 days. I said, I can't wait 3 days for a phone. What do you recommend I do? He's like, I don't have any answers. You know, I don't know.
Dave, you didn't pull I'll pay anything in any amount to have a new phone right now?
Well, I did. No, I pretty much said that. I said, I will pay any amount of money, I said, for a phone at this point. And they said, well, you don't have your phone. So I was talking to this woman on the way back. And she's like, you know, I'm like, isn't there any, if I sign into like my iCloud on my computer, can I see text message? She's like, no. She's like, you can see your pictures and stuff like that. And I said, well, what about, I said, what about an iPad? She's like, oh yeah, you could, if you sign into your account on the iPad, you can see text messages. I'm like, how come no one told me that at the Genius Bar?
Yeah. It wasn't a genius.
You know what it is? It's like, you ever go to you talk to these doctors that like are neurosurgeons, like they can open your skull up and they can do surgery on your brain and fix it. They can give you new eyes and ears and all that stuff. But if you ask these guys to diagnose a case of indigestion, they wouldn't know what to tell you to take.
Well, that's why my father used to say we're a country of specialists.
You're right. We are. That's what I found out today.
I didn't know what that meant. He used to say that to me all the time when I was little.
He's right. That was very wise. He's very wise to say that. We're too specialized.
Specialists. Nobody knows the answer.
No. That's why I see this on Instagram with all the gurus, these self-proclaimed TikTok and Instagram gurus. They know everything that you could possibly know about the trenbolone molecule and how it's spun and where the carbon atoms are located and the hydrogen atoms and what it does and what aromatizes and what doesn't aromatize and what 5-alpha reductase works on. But God forbid, ask them how to do a squat. They probably would only be able to do it on a machine. Or God forbid you ask them about a diet or macros or something like that. They have no idea about anything. But they know trenbolone though. They'll get it to you too. These guys, right?
That's right.
So I'm getting ready to do the radio show, and I'm like, I got to take my vitamins before I do the show. I said because I'm feeling run down at this point. And I dropped the vitamin on the floor, and my cat was there. I didn't want my cat to grab it, so I reached down, Chris, to grab the vitamin off the floor, and I hit my head right here. I can't believe I haven't split it open on the countertop to the point where I saw stars, and that, you know how you get that nauseous feeling?
That's a sign that you have to slow down. The phone is not that important.
You sound like my father now, yeah.
You know what? It threw you off so much you end up in a car crash, and you say, imagine I totaled my car and my skull over a phone. Yeah,
exactly. So so my head bounced off the marble countertop or whatever, granite countertop. I was waiting for the blood to start flowing down my head, but it never came. I'm sure I'll have a big bruise here later. No one will notice anyway because I have a big head, so it'll just blend in. So that's been my morning. So I did get a good workout in, so I can't complain about that.
What did you train? What body part?
I did a little shoulders. So anyway, I'm falling apart. You know, I don't even, I'm afraid to, you're in bad shape when you're afraid to look at the data on your iPhone or your Apple Watch. I don't even want to know what the data says anymore. I do know that I did like 15,000 steps the other day. Yeah.
I talked to Dave on the way over this morning. Skip Robinson turned 81 yesterday.
I know.
Can you call up the deadlift video on his Instagram of the guy who's 80 doing 405 for 3?
All right, let me pull it up.
It has to do, the background story is, I think when people, speaking to specialists and experts, when we started in the gym, you, me, people over, close to 60. Day one, this is who I started with, maniacs. And I always tell people I started with maniacs, and that was the foundation, deadlifts, bench press, just basics, barbells, dumbbells. Well, one of the guys I started out with, besides Skip Robinson, who was Ed Connor's first house guest, Skip Robinson from Maine. He won the IFBB Mr. World in 1976. Trains at 5:30 every day in the gym till this day at 81.
Is that him with Arnold?
Yeah, yep, him with Arnold.
Ed Connor took that picture.
He told me that he himself almost had a heart attack. I said, what do you mean? Because he's in great health at 81. He said, well, I was watching Marty deadlift, and he deadlifted at 79 years old, 405 for 3. He only weighs 160.
Crazy.
So that's on his Instagram, and we were talking about that this morning, and I'm just, it's his birthday, and I'm thinking like,
is this the guy, or is this a different guy?
No, it's an older guy doing a deadlift, 405 to 3.
This is pretty crazy too. I'll keep looking. He's, Skip Robinson at 80 something years old puts more content on his Instagram account than most guys in their 20s who complain, oh, I can't do it. I have no time.
So
Skip's doing it at 80 something years old.
Guy's
he's still living the life. He's like John Hanson. That's going to be John Hanson when John's like 80.
John's not deadlifting at 79, 405 to 3. So Skip didn't do it. He's what made
No, I know he has his client do it. I can't find it. He's got too many videos. He's got too many videos on his Instagram, Chris. I'm telling you, the guy puts up a ton of content. Can't find it. He's got girls in bikinis squatting.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of girls in bikinis squatting.
He loves the women, right? He was a real ladies' man.
Only woman. He trains only women.
Chris, didn't you say that he had like some crazy car, like that you were like jealous of when you were like a teenager?
Well, he had a Porsche that said.
His Porsche.
Then he had this topless Jeep that said "Pump and Iron" on it, and he had everything. He had motorcycles, fur jackets, cowboy boots, cowboy hats. He was like one in a gazillion. He is still one in a gazillion. He's at the gym at 5:30 every morning. So.
I love that he's still doing it. He's still working. It's amazing. Does he need to work, or does he just like to work?
No, he loves going to the gym. It's part of his routine.
Yeah. I hope I'm like that too with his age. I know you don't want to go to the gym.
I will get the video, Dave, and I'll send it to you so you can put it up. See the guy said do 4.
I've seen it. I just can't find it. But you know what? I love guys like that because you know what? He'll probably live to 100, this guy, and he'll probably be super sharp as a tack at 100. And I think that's always the goal. The goal is not just to live a long time, because you don't want to live if you're like if you don't even know what the fuck's going on. I mean, that's not fun life. But if you can be mentally sharp and live to like 100, I think that's the greatest thing that you could hope for.
Well, Skip called me the day after that Biden debate, and I picked up the phone, and he said, "Have I ever sounded like that?" And I said, "No." He said, "Shoot me if I ever."
I see like guys like Jack Nicholson are in their 90s now, and I've seen a lot of pictures posted. How the fuck did these guys survive? These guys were like doing drugs and alcohol, right? I mean, they certainly were not taking care of themselves back in the day. They're carousing with all the women. It's amazing that these guys are all, Clint Eastwood, they're all in their 90s. Although Clint Eastwood always took care of himself and ate right and trained and stuff like that. Nicholson didn't, though.
Like some, genetics, I guess, right?
I guess. I mean, it's the only I can attribute it to.
I mean, my
don't know. It's
I always I had an aunt, Dave, who lived. She died of lung cancer at 76. She smoked 3 packs a day from 16 to 76. 3 packs a day.
yeah.
I'll never forget going over her house and asking my mother, "What was that?" It was on the wall.
Right.
The whole entire wall was stained. Every inch of her house.
All right, let's give Muscle Insight a little plug because I like this video. I want to get your opinion. Have you seen this? Who has the best rear double bicep pose currently in the open class? They have a picture of I don't know. They put Joe Palacio, who does have a good back. Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, Samson Dowda, Martin Fitzwater, Antonio Burton, Regan Grimes, Behruz Tabani. And I guess they were doing a kind of little Jose Raymond on the judging panel with Ian Valier and Paul Lazon. Who do you like in that little all these back doubles?
I would go with Derek. I mean, I think it's understood his back is the best in the IVV.
Yeah, I agree. Some of these pictures look a little doctored too, because Samson looks a little too hard in that picture, right? I don't remember seeing him on stage that hard.
No, just I mean when you consider just width, depth.
Yeah.
I mean,
funny how wide he is for such a short guy, right?
It's I mean, to have a wide back double that's filled in is so impressive.
Yeah.
They got different back doubles. I mean, I think Antonio has a pretty and superbly balanced back double, but it's not the best back double.
No. But
I like Martin's back double because I like the lower back thickness.
Yeah, you know what he does? I hope he fixes it for the Olympia. He leans back too much on that shot, and he creases his lower back. If he would just not lean his body back forward that far back, his back would look even better because he's hiding the lower part of it. And he's got really good lower lats.
No. I got an email out to Nick's mom. I'm wondering if she's going to email me back.
John Romano would not approve because no one's turning their head except, Samson turned his head a little bit there. Remember guys used to turn their head sideways?
Yeah.
On the back double?
Yeah, because that was what he was, quote, supposed to do.
Well, that's what I was told to do back in the day. It was, I mean, you turned your head so that your traps kind of like were popped out a little bit. I remember Dorian used to do that on the lat spread. It looked crazy.
Yeah.
Back in the day. That was a tremendous shot for him. Who do you think has the best? Who do you think had the best back of all time?
Let's see. It would be.
I mean, Ronnie and
I'm not going to say Joel Stubbs.
No, well, I mean, he was good too, but Ronnie and Dorian have to be up there, I would think, right?
It'd be between Ronnie and Dorian. And it would be Ronnie 98 against Dorian 95.
Okay, I'll take that, yeah.
Because Dorian's back in 95. I mean, I was there. So
yeah, it was crazy.
I've seen them both. I've seen them both compete, and I think I was more flabbergasted with Dorian, and of course on the back double. And if you look at Dorian's back double, it looks great, but I think sometimes you have to be there.
In person, Dorian looked way better than video. You could not capture how hard he was in pictures.
Well, when his Christmas tree was on,
yeah,
it was just remarkable.
Yeah, a lot of the lighting in those pictures weren't as good either. I mean, when I saw him in person, I was just blown away. I mean, he was the level of density and thickness that Dorian possessed on his back shots was just nutty. Haney had a good back too, believe it or not. But, I think that Dorian took it to the next level. And I think Ronnie took it to the next level over Dorian in terms of maybe just sheer size in 03. If you look at that 03, those back shots. But
Yeah.
I think Dorian had more fibery shit going on that I kind of a little more impressed with. I think what Ronnie had done in 03 wasn't his best look ever, but he was so big. He was like almost 300 pounds. I mean, that it was just like it was almost like a comic book. It was like someone drew him. It was almost like you didn't believe that it was real. And that's why I think that got him the best ever because of that look. Because I don't think anyone's ever competed at his height that big and that lean. And I think it was something we might never see again. I don't know. I mean, it was wacky. And that's not even good. That's not the pose that Sid put up isn't even the best one of them.
Yeah, that one was from 98, the one you put up.
Blackman had some great shots that Per Banal took of him. I believe they were Per Banal shots. And they were just nutty looking. I mean, the level of detail, because Per knows how to do the lighting is the key. And Per just had some insane shots of him. And I was just like, this guy it doesn't even look real, what he had going on. You find him, Sid? I don't know if that's the shot.
No, that's he's a little rebounded out after a show with the
that's not
the Olympia. That is the Olympia. I wonder what year that was. He looks crazy there.
I don't know. Did Howard Stern get re-signed with Sirius? I think he did.
What's that?
Howard Stern signs monster payday Sirius XM contracts. I guess they kept him after all was said and done. Howard Stern, look, I don't agree with his politics anymore, but Howard Stern's a smart dude because he knows if he holds out that whole Sirius satellite radio, without him, they'll lose all the subscribers. There are people that only subscribe to Sirius just for Howard Stern, and it's probably, it could be 50% of the viewership. So I knew they were going to re-sign him. I knew Howard was playing hard to get, and everyone was saying, "Oh, they canned him because of his politics and blah 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 blah." Nah, he was just playing. He was playing hardball. Like I said, I don't know why he became so woke, but from being so cool before that. But I didn't expect to see anything less than a big contract from him. All right, that's my Howard Stern moment. But getting back to backs, yeah, I think Ronnie just had something that was just outrageous looking. I never thought we'd see a better back than Dorian's, but Ronnie's was bigger. I don't know if the quality of his back was as good as Dorian's, but it was certainly bigger. And I would put those two guys up there in 1 and 2, which is saying a lot because we've seen some good backs.
Yeah, over the years.
And you know what? Everyone said Joel Stubbs. Joel Stubbs had a good back, a very good back. But I think his back looked so good and so much bigger because his legs really weren't that big. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe if his legs matched his upper body, they wouldn't stick out so much as back, Unless I'm making that up. I don't know.
That Trenbolone expert on Instagram says Joel.
He might know. We got to ask him. Yeah. Oh my God. Can't take it. Should we preview this Italy Pro? Yeah, let's talk about the Italy Pro because I thought it was going to be a crappy show, but I saw once I saw Sergio entered the show and I was like, you know what, this is going to be a pretty good lineup. We got Emir Omaragic in that lineup. We have Sergio. We got the German guy Budesheim. Mark Hector from the UK who's coming up. We got Quinton who's trying to still, qualify for the Olympia. We got a couple of guys that who were at the Olympia already. Theo Leguer from France. You got William Martins, I think, who used to work with from Brazil for a short period of time, right? Louis Breed from the UK, who's been top 5 at a few shows this year. I think it's going to be a really good lineup. Who do you think this is a show Sergio can go in there and dominate? Can he beat Quinton?
I think just like any other show, Quinton does have the better structure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that based on pictures that I've seen today, I think when comparing the two, Sergio looks to be in tremendous condition. And it's always hard for a Quentin type big physique to be able to come down and get the type of condition that's a slam dunk condition after having done 2 shows.
Right.
It's
Right.
different than like Amir was peeled at the last show, he'll be peeled at this show. It's like a different body, different, you know what I mean? He's got like a lot of natural density, a lot of natural striations in his physique. So it'd be much easier for him to repeat a condition than it is somebody
Yeah.
who's got like younger looking muscle in a Quentin.
Yeah.
Throw on top of that, you know, you don't really know how people's physiques either stay the same or get worse from a long travel. I've seen people get off a plane and from a long travel and looked even better. I've seen people look like disastrous worse. Of course, it's just a flight. You know what I mean? You can get off the plane and look absolutely terrible, but in 2 days, all that, you know, you're right back to looking great. But it can play with your head, and you can try to like overcompensate with your diet or whatever you're doing to try to like recreate the physique that you had when you got on the plane for the long trip. So anytime there's a long trip, there's, you know, odd factors that come into play.
Yeah, you're right. As long as Sergio doesn't get into any car accidents, you know, on the way to the show, I think he'll be fine. I happen to think that, assuming Sergio is in shape, which it looks like from those pictures, he's looking really good. I think his showmanship on stage and his mastery of like the, you know, the mandatory poses, and your eyes really go right to his physique when he's in shape and he's on. It's hard to take your eyes off him. I remember when you helped him for that show when he won Tampa. Was it Tampa? Right?
No,
Was it Tampa? No, not was it. It was either Tampa or New York. I don't remember which one it was. Which show did he you know, come on? Yeah, he just really decimated the lineup.
New York.
He was so good on stage that I'm just like, holy, this guy outposed everyone up there. You know, he stole that show. I forget, it was very close between him and someone else. I can't remember what show it was. And he kind of, and you were coaching him at the time, and he just stole that show just with his presentation and showmanship. And that's hard. That's a tangible thing that gets judged. And you can't discount that. You know, everyone doesn't understand that. You don't really see it unless you're in person. Because what happens is the guys, when you're on home on your internet, on your Instagram, and you're looking at static pictures or even just posing video, you're not really getting a true feel for what's going on when you're sitting in that crowd and what the judges are experiencing live as these guys are presenting themselves. Because the judges are not studying pictures and videos and saying, who's better up there? They're getting a very quick, basically highlight film of who these guys are, and whoever can present a better highlight film quickly on stage is going to be the guy that's going to win. And that's why you have to. There's an intangible part of judging that happens when you're there live, and you know that's why sometimes you don't get the true picture by analyzing stuff afterwards. It's like before they had the instant replay in football, Chris, you remember they would miss calls sometimes because sometimes you just don't see it.
Yeah.
But if you play it back 600 times on slow instant replay, you can see, oh, the guy did get in bounds, or oh, the guy stepped over the line. You're judging a show live. You're not going back and studying the footage afterwards and then making a decision. So.
Well, Dave, that, and throw in that some of the European shows have sometimes notorious long comparisons in the prejudging. And two things come into play there in terms of who's going to be 1, 2, 3, who fades and who doesn't fade, and who has the ability to present that what they have. That's part of fading, just stamina all the way through a prejudging. You know, so if you get locked down to like a final call out of 3 or 4, and they run them through 3 times, which is conceivable. If you're smoked on the last call out and you can't keep your thighs tight, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, if it's that close. So presentation is not only the way you present your physique, but presentation, how much stamina you have from the beginning of prejudging all the way up to the end. You know, you don't see it like at at the Arnold or at the Olympia. Well, at the Arnold, you did. You see like a first call out of 3 people, and they did 3 rounds.
Right.
But no, I'm wrong. I mean, it's, they do 3 call outs at the Arnold sometimes in the Olympia, but
Well, if it's close, they do that for sure. But Sergio's really good on stage, is my point. The longer the prejudging goes, I think the better it is for a guy like Sergio, because he can be up there all day. He just enjoys posing. And for people who love to pose up there, the longer it goes, the better it is for them. I always say that because those are the guys that practice their posing over and over and over all night, for hours a day. Those guys can pose forever. I remember when I was a runner, I think I might have even told the story. When I was a runner, I hit a point, Chris, where I would run like almost 10 miles a day, usually, depending on if we had meets or whatever. But I could literally go and I could run probably forever. Like I didn't have to stop. Like I had such good endurance that the only thing that would stop me would be I'd run out of glycogen or something like that. I'd start feeling terrible because, I ran 20 miles or something like that. Not that I ever did 20 miles on a regular basis, but I could run forever. Like it was effortless because I did it every day, all the time. You want, and not many people, I don't think I ever got to this point. So I'm not like saying that I've done it, but there are guys that can pose forever. Like just leave them out there. They love it. They practice it every day. They have great posing endurance. Like Cormier probably could have stayed out there for freaking 2 hours and posed at prejudging and stuff like that and not have a problem. And I think Sergio is one of those guys. I don't know if some of these other big guys can last that long. And if the prejudging goes on for a long time, like you suggest, it could, because maybe it's a close contest. That could absolutely help Sergio, win the show.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what Quinton's, posing endurance is or anything like that, but like you said, he has competed a couple times already. It does make it harder to come in at your best shape. Sergio's a little fresher, I would say, and I think it's going to be a good battle. And there's other guys in the line, but I think it's going to be between those 2 guys. What do you think?
I think that's probably, I would say it's going to be between those 2, Amir, and maybe.
Oh, Amir, I forgot about Amir. Amir's good too.
Well, because he's the odd person out on the condition.
Yeah.
Because for sure his condition is going to be the best on stage. But Budesheim, he's impressive. I mean, there's more than just Tim as in terms of impressive.
Sergio is starting to look a little more. Oh, there's Quinton. Look, we've said it a million times about Quinton. If Quinton puts it all together at some point, and I think he still needs to put a little bit more muscle on, even though he's huge already, but he's tall, has a big structure. But once he puts it all together, this guy, I think he's the most dangerous guy possibly in the open division. If he can add the muscle he needs to his frame and still bring in that level of conditioning that he's going to need, I think he can win it all. That's how good I think his frame is. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think that he can, if he continues to improve at the rate he's improving. I think two years down the road from now, we might be seeing a guy who's competing for an Olympia title.
Yeah, well, he's got everything that you need to win a big show like the Olympia.
Yeah.
Period.
He's got bells and whistles galore,
Well, he's broad. He's got height. He's got calves. He's got quads.
Yeah.
It's just the only thing that he's lacking at this point. He's not lacking condition either. He's lacking like the 2 added years of training that makes the muscle look like Louis Freed's muscle in the first call out. Probably he's got muscle that looks different than everyone else's. It's just like denser looking.
Right.
He's not as big. He's not as broad. But he's compact, and the muscle looks super rugged. And take super rugged muscle under the lights, and it looks like something. And sometimes when you don't have that density because you haven't been training enough years, put it under the lights, and it has like a just slightly, quote, soft look, even though you're not soft, which is the frustrating part, because you can be, a Quinton type physique and have like pretty much no water retention and very, very low body fat. And, the guy who's the trenbolone expert comes up to you after the show it says, you know, you got to drop 20 pounds, when in fact, it's just, you know, you got to continue doing what you're doing.
He's just a work in progress. I think when he arrives, everyone better watch out. That's all I know. He's one of these guys that you should be very, very scared of, and hopefully he continues injury free, and gets, to his full potential, because you got to remember, the guy hasn't been taking drugs that long, Chris. He was a classic guy who moved up to the open division, started taking drugs, and it is what it is. He's been making the improvements he's been making every year. So he's a super dangerous guy. It's funny. My phone is like chiming with text messages that I can't view. So if any of you guys are text messaging out there, don't text message me. I can't see them. All right. What else did I want to talk about? So we got Italy. Oh, I wanted to obviously the title of the show. Can you believe what is it? Sid, how long has it been? What has it been? 8 years since Rich Piana died? 7 or 8 years? Rich and Dallas McCarver. What a terrible tragedy that was in our industry. 8 years, Rich Piana.
Yeah.
And hold on. There it is. What a good guy.
You remember when we went to Australia and Rich Piana had the line?
Yeah.
This is how naive I was. I said, what is this line for? And you go, Rich Piana. I said, who's that? And I didn't know who he was, because he had this crazy YouTube station when YouTube was starting. And he had his supplement line. I had no idea. I had never heard the name. And the line was like it was the Arnold. It was either the Arnold Australia. And the line was like wrapped around the venue.
Very charismatic guy. Yeah. People wanted to be around him. It was like a phenomenon when we would go to these expos and see him. He would build these huge booths, and it was like he had a castle in the middle of the expo hall. And he'd be there all day talking to people. I don't know how he did it, to be honest with you, but he did it. And he had some very original ideas that with all the slogans on his t-shirts and one day you may, and all the other, all these little, 5%, all these little like slogans that people wanted to be a part of his little crew. He was a marketing genius before there were marketing geniuses. He was one of the first guys. I always tell people there's 3 people, and unfortunately they're all not alive anymore. But my friend Derek Anthony was the first guy to really go on YouTube. He would go on YouTube because the fans would like tell him that he was gay. So he would go in there and tell him, F you, this and that. And he would do rants on YouTube. This is before you could even monetize. He would have thousands and thousands of views on this. If he would have monetized it, he would have been making a fortune. He was like the first guy to really do that. Then, you got Boston Lloyd, who came along, who was doing injecting himself on videos, and talking about drugs. No one had ever done that really excessively, not the way he did, at least. I talked about education of drugs, but not like I wasn't taking shots online. And then Rich came along kind of like around the same time or right after that, and took the whole genre to the next level. And I think everyone who does social media nowadays is really copying the Rich Piana model of what he established, because it's so successul. Yeah. And so everyone who's making money on YouTube now or Instagram or Facebook because of social media, what they're doing, should thank Rich Piana or the memory of Rich Piana, because he made it all possible. He showed people that there was a business model to do this, and that if you're creative enough and that you sensationalize things enough, or whatever you got to do, you do it regularly, you can have a great audience. People don't realize Rich would edit his own videos. He'd stay up all night editing his videos. He didn't just create the videos. He edited them, and then he put them up himself. He would stay up all night. Something I did originally, I didn't stay up all night, but I would stay up late editing video when I worked for Muscle Development. So this guy was a real innovator in that sense. And, still don't know how the guy died, but the autopsy was inconclusive. But it was a shame we lost him 8 years ago today. And he really, like I said, he changed the scope and allowed people to have the ability to make money who might not be top level bodybuilders, but were influencers. And so we have to thank Rich for that. And then, of course, we lost Dallas McCarver, who is probably one of the brightest upcoming talents in the sport at such a young age. I remember he was out in Australia competing, right, with Tony Doherty, and then he collapsed on stage.
Oh.
Turned out he had a heart attack, but it was like kind of like a silent heart attack. They told him, at the hospital there, he better get checked out when he goes back to the United States. I don't know if he ever did or not, but we know the outcome. He collapsed. I think was it in Flex Lewis's gym, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the gym or not.
Right? I think it was in Florida at his gym.
I know it was Florida, but I don't know where he was.
Yeah, I think it was in Flex's gym in Boca, the original Dragon's Lair. And unfortunately, he passed. He had a blockage in his coronary arteries. Never went and got it checked out, unfortunately, and we lost a great. Not only was he a great bodybuilder, he was a great guy. He was a good soul. He was the guy had a smile on his face. I never heard anyone say a bad word about the guy. Everyone liked this kid, and he was only 26 years old. So we lost, and I think they died a few days apart, if I remember correctly. So 8 years ago. It feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it does.
It's nuts. So, yeah, everyone misses both of these guys. I know that all the guys over in Florida, the East Coast of Florida there, they loved him. He was very well liked. He trained over there, and, he had moved over there. He was working for Redcon at the time. And, we lost him too. God knows where he would be. He could be Mr. Olympia. He could have been Mr. Olympia today, for all we know. He was so young. His potential was unlimited at that point. And he was vying for top, 2 at every show he was in.
Yeah, he was pretty freaky.
He was a better Nick Walker, really, if you think about it, because he had better structure than Nick.
They're similar in that they're young and freaky, muscle and dense and shoulders and everything, quads, arms.
I think that Nick is a little smarter in the health aspect. I think he gets checked out a little bit. I don't think he's got one. I don't take it because I'm just knowing Nick's parents. He's not one of these guys who sticks his head in the sand and doesn't want to know what's going on. He's very up on his physique and his health and everything like that. So look, there's always a risk when you're this big and you're pushing this hard to be the best in the world. You're taking health risks. We know that. We don't have to avoid the obvious. However, there's a way to do it safely and there's a way to not do it safely. The safe way is to go for diagnostic tests, to go for blood work, to see what's going on in your body. And then if there's something not going right, you back off a little bit. But, when you put your head in the sand and you just say, you know what? Yeah, I know there's something going on with my heart, but I really don't want to know because I'm afraid they're going to tell me I can't bodybuild anymore. That's just stupid because then that's how we lose people and unnecessarily. And that's unfortunately what happened to Dallas. And it happened to Boston Lloyd too. He had a aortic aneurysm, and he didn't die of kidney failure. He was in kidney failure, but he would have gotten a kidney replacement. He was still only 29. He could have lived a very, very, very good life. He didn't want to know what was going on with his heart. His father had an enlarged aorta just like I did, and he had the same thing, and he needed to get it fixed, and he just ignored it. So don't ignore your health. If there's any message that this relays what this tragedy of losing all these people, don't ignore your health. You can push the envelope if that's what you choose to do, but do it smart. Do it wisely. Get the diet, get the cardiac CT scan, get the echocardiogram, get the EKG. Get the blood work done regularly. This way, if something's wrong. If something's wrong, you get it fixed. It's not that hard. And being silly. We're lucky, Chris, that when we were coming up in bodybuilding, that nothing terrible happened to anyone. Probably because everyone was afraid to do too many drugs. But there could have been tragedies. We didn't know about. They didn't have all these diagnostic tests. They didn't have all this information. You couldn't go buy a blood sugar monitor or a blood pressure cuff. You had to buy a stethoscope and one of those little things that pumps up your arm, and then you had to try to listen to your own your heartbeat. It was ridiculous. Now you put a $10 blood pressure cuff around your arm, and if you have high blood pressure or not. You stick your finger in the morning with the glucose monitor for $9 from Walmart, and you can tell if you have high blood sugar. You know, you can go get a cardiac CT calcium score it takes 5 minutes, self-pay under $100. I mean, there's no excuse for not checking yourself out while you're going through the bodybuilding journey that you're on, so that you can do it in a safe way. And I'm taking the time to say this, and I've said it innumerable times, but if I reach one more person just from saying it again, as we memorialize, the 8th anniversary of the loss of Rich Piana and Dallas McCarver, I hope you guys are listening and you're going to go do it. Because you know what? My friend Craig Licker didn't do it, didn't listen to me, and he died in a car dealership, of a heart attack. And he could have also gone for a cardiac CT scan and found out if he had a blockage, he could have got a stent, he would have been fine. So take it for what it's worth, guys. Don't be naive about your health. All right. Oh, is that's Rich? That's Rich Piana's brother. Awesome. He's been doing a car project on his YouTube channel for Rich, and the memorials Rich for the last couple of years. So anyway, we love Rich. So
it seems like we've done that show we just did, Dave, before, but it's worth repeating. The caveat that you just put out.
Yeah, well, I don't think I could. You know what? I don't think I can repeat it enough. Unfortunately,
well, I don't know if the envelope. That's what I'm thinking. I'll just say it. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't think the envelope needs to be pushed that hard.
No.
Frankly.
I want to put up this picture of Mark Hector 2 weeks out. He looks really good.
Oh, he's got a great.
Yeah, I got to give him a little. He's really improved his physique. Talk about improvements of physiques. He really has improved his physique a lot, I think.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of muscle.
A lot of muscle, a lot of balance. He's got a physique. Small waist. He's got a physique that wins shows. I don't know about this show.
Yeah.
Because, well, he could be bigger. I hate to say that.
And he's 262. That's the figure.
Yeah, I know.
You remember when 260 on stage used to be huge? What happened? A guy's just taller nowadays? Is that what it is? Is that why they?
He looks great. He looks great.
He does.
I don't know where he's going to land here. We're going to find out.
Yeah. It's turning out to be good. Well, you know what? These guys that are not qualified for the Olympia are crazy not to do these shows because he has an opportunity. There's a big, huge opportunity here.
Doing it. Hector's doing it. Amir's doing it. The Nigerian is doing it. What's his name? Quentin.
We're gonna quiz Chris Aceto right now. All right, hold on. How old was Jay in this picture? And who gave him the shirt? The gold shirt.
He's 18 there. That's before I met him.
Oh, it is before? Oh, wow.
I met him at the tail end of 18.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought you knew him younger. Okay. That's a really young picture of him. Holy mackerel.
I haven't seen that one, which is why I know that it predates me meeting him.
That's awesome.
He did. Did you see he interviewed Dana White and Trump called Dana White when he was doing the interview?
Oh, he did. No, I didn't see that. That's awesome. He lives right in his backyard. I wonder how Jay got in touch with Dana White. I'm
sure it did because Jay's Mr. Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone knows Jay in Vegas. He's been there forever.
That's true.
He is who he is. Mr. Olympia, Arnold Classic champion, business guy. He crossed paths with everyone.
Yeah, Jay probably gets recognized everywhere he goes. I have a couple people who recognize me here and there. They come up to my kids and they're like,
because Jay looks more or less the exact same as when he was winning.
That's true.
It's not like when you see a bodybuilder and you say, "Oh, this guy's retired," and he's like he's still got the width, still got the pec, legs,
right.
the hair.
You're right.
There's Trump calling Dana White.
I only oh, is that, oh yeah, there it is. That's funny. I get calls from like
The lawyer.
yeah, my divorce lawyer calls me. And who else calls me? I don't you know, I've noticed that recently, and I don't know if you've noticed this, I don't get very many phone calls. Like I'm almost surprised when the phone rings because no one wants to talk on the phone anymore. Everyone wants to text.
Text. My phone never rings.
Never. If matter of fact, if the phone rings, I get worried. Like it's going to be like the school or something like that. Someone got hurt because no one calls me. The only person who calls me is Amon, who works for me, to tell me what's going on.
People who work with me, Dave, do not text. It's not communication.
No, yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to go through text.
It takes forever. The little snippets of conversation. It's like.
And Chris is the worst texter of all time. He cannot write complete sentences. His grammar is terrible. It's like you talk, you text like you talk, like in little drips and drabs, Like, what the hell is Chris talking about? I'm like, sometimes I've said that to you. I've said, what are you talking about? And then you'll explain it, or you call me up and tell me what you've done.
See, you get the calls from me, the nostalgic phone calls.
That's right. So I went to Great Wolf Lodge again this past weekend because it's my daughter's birthday. I wanted to take her there, and my body's beat up. I realized that after 50, your body just can't handle the same abuse that it did when we were younger. And they dragged me on all the water slides. It's like an indoor water park, but it's they look at the slides and the lazy river, and then they have an obstacle course with a zip line thing. They drag me on everything because my daughter's too young. And I went to the one sit in Naples, but but it's the same. It's set up the same. If you're in the area, it's a great park. And I ran into about 5 or 6 different bodybuilders there who came up to me. And they were like, one guy was from Yonkers, New York. He was visiting down there, but they were all. There's a lot of really good guys that they came up to me and said, I watch your show. I love you and Chris. You guys are great. I've been watching you for years. And, a couple of them told my son, your father's a legend. Yeah, my son could give a shit, about that. But it is funny how there are, that people do watch the show. I'm convinced actually that probably more people know you and I from doing the show than they would have known us from competing back in the day. It's just, it's so weird how social media is so prevalent. You'd be shocked. I have like people who don't even look like they work out say we listen to the show, or I have wives come up to me and say my husband listens to the show, and I hear it all the time. I recognize your voice, in the background. It's when I heard you talking. It's bizarre that everywhere I go, I run into people who have watched the show, or they know who we are, or whatever it is. It's. I know you have the guy at the cleaners you run into who's a big fan of us.
We're checking into a hotel in Boston maybe 2 years ago. Me, my wife, all 4 kids, and the hotel manager came up who looked like the guy from the Genius Apple store eating the
500-pound guy.
Yeah. And he said, "Where's Dave?" And I'm like, I know it. Like I just blew him off, and then he's like, "Where's Dave?" I didn't know if he was talking to me or whatever. My wife said, "I think he's talking about Dave Palumbo." And I said, "Dave Palumbo?" And he's like, "Yeah, where's Dave?" I'm like, "I'm here on a family trip to Boston." Dave's in Florida with his family.
Yeah.
But in his mind, I don't know what. Maybe he thought there was a bodybuilding convention or something, or a bodybuilding.
It's funny. Did you see? Lonnie Anderson died the other day. I think it was last week.
Yeah.
No one knows who she is, but I'm sure, unless they're over the age of 40. But I noticed that they had the girl who played Barbara Eden, the girl who played I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
Bill Maher had her on his podcast. I got to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. She's got to be in her 90s too, right?
Oh yeah.
What I'm wondering, I mean, she probably still looks great because she always looked great. What I'm wondering is, I wonder, you see all these people who are in their 90s now, okay, that we kind of watched when we were kids. I wonder if people are going to start dying younger, or are we going to say like 40 years from now. Look at all these people 120 years old. They're still alive. You know? I wonder if we're going to start seeing old, like 100's going to start seeming like not a big deal anymore. Because, you know, when we were kids, if you remember, people, the average, you know, lifespan, most men died at 62 years old. That was the average, you know, death. I think now it's like 80 or something like that, or 78 or 79. Yeah. For women, it's over 80. But so in like our lifespan, the average life expectancy has gone up 20 years. So, I mean, will it go up another 20 years? I mean, will 100 be the average, you know, age of people at some point?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, are we going to ever see like the 100 age category at the Masters Nationals and at the North American? Like I'm going to this coming week. By the way, thank you, Gary, for providing a press pass for us again. But I think we're going to see 100 plus. I'm going to be doing these guys. They're going to be like hiring me, you know, to coach them for the 100 category. You know, they call them the Centurions or something like that. Centurions. You know?
Fully believes he's going to make it to over 100, and I expect.
I think Hansen might be in the 100 category, right? We might not be alive, but Hansen will be alive.
Hansen will be 100 with abs and full pack. And
He'll
perfect.
Still have the vacuum, the rib cage vacuum. Yeah.
How old is Hansen?
He's in his 60s for sure.
He's pushing Jay, you know, for best kept celebrity bodybuilding known entity. In terms of like the hair, the physique, you know.
I know. Well, if you ever look at John Hansen's father, he's got a full head of hair still too, and he looks great. So Hansen's got longevity on his side, the genes, the genetics, you know. Plus, you know, he's got the hair genetics like you do too. You know, you're never losing your hair at this point. You would have lost it already.
I hope so. I hope not. I'll have to call Guy and get me over to Turkey with his dog.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll have to send you to Turkey. You might want to go to Turkey anyway.
If my health insurance goes up, gang, I'm going to cancel it. And if I get sick, run to Turkey.
He's like, if this guy writes, if Dave grew a Burt Reynolds mustache, he'd be like one of those porn stars. Yeah, that's why I don't grow a mustache. That's why I don't know why guys are wearing mustaches.
Wear a fake one a little next week for the show, Dave.
I got to get a Bleckman frosted mustache. I don't know why these guys do. Look, if I was on stage, you know, I wouldn't have any facial hair personally. I think that facial hair detracts. You know, if you look at the best bodybuilders of all time, very few of them had any kind of facial hair. There was, you know, a couple here and there, but not many. Even Lee Labrada had a mustache for years, and then he shaved his toward the end of his career. So I just don't think facial hair. Like, look, we shave our whole body. Like, why would you want to put facial hair on your face? I don't know. You know, the problem is trends and what's stylish changes over the years, and like, you know, as just like bow ties and neckties, where they go from thick to thin, they go back and forth every decade or so. Same thing with mustaches. They come, they go, their beards come in and they go, and then there's no people clean shaven. It's like, I think people get bored. So they just try to recycle, you know, their looks, you know, and that's really all it is to it. I think that's what it's all about. I broke another pair of reading glasses. Can you believe it?
Well, not as bad as your phone, Dave.
How many reading glasses do you have around your house, like stashed?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within eye shot.
I have 2 in my pocket. I have one at every desk in my house. I tell people, I said, listen, when you turn 50, you're going to need them. You're not going to wear them right away when you're 50. You're going to squint and you're going to try to increase the size of the text on your phone. But eventually you'll give in and just say, fuck it. And you'll start wearing those reading glasses. Everyone does it. It's so funny because I can go into like a restaurant or anything like that. You could tell who the 50-plus-year-olds are. Everyone pulls out the reading glasses. It's amazing. You would think they'd be able to fix that by now. They can fix your vision with the LASIK. Why can't they fix the reading issue?
I was just looking at a supplement bottle before the show. And I had to
you can't read the supplement
screenshot
bottle.
it to expand what the ingredients were.
I'm like, I think they purposely put the ingredient. The more dangerous the product is, the more the small the print on the ingredient list is. I have a pair of glasses. I still can't read the Diet Coke bottle. It's crazy. Now they have. My daughter likes the youngest likes Fanta. Have you ever drinking that orange soda Fanta?
Fanta when I was little. Orange tastes like orange sugar.
Yeah. So, but they just came out with it. Now they have a sugar-free Fanta. So I buy I refuse to buy full sugar, sodas for the kids or anything like that, or drink. I don't even let them drink juice because it's just pure sugar. Yeah. Remember when you were kids, they were like, orange juice is good for you. It's got vitamin C. It's got like almost no vitamin C. It's all sugar. It's all sugar. Believe me. Don't let your kids, if you can avoid it, don't give your kids any sugar drinks. And look, I don't think they should be drinking soda all the time, but I don't mind giving them a can of Diet Coke if it's good. I'd rather them drink that than them drink the full sugar, high fructose corn syrup drinks. It's horrendous.
Changing one of their formulations due to Trump from high fructose corn syrup to sugar.
They're supposed to go back to cane sugar. That's what I heard. I don't think they've done it yet though. So, but even regular sugar is not good for you. Who needs 60 grams of pure sugar in one can of soda? You think you're going to really eat your food after that? You're going to eat your dinner with that? No way. It's going to fill you up. You're lighting your pancreas up. Like there's no reason to have that much sugar. And most kids are overweight anyway. That if your kid is overweight and you're giving them like full, and I know I see these parents all the time. They don't buy the kids soda, but they buy them like juice. Oh, this is natural juices. I said, yeah, but it's still got a ton of sugar in it. Why would you give your fat kid sugar to drink? You're better off getting some sort of a diet iced tea if you don't want to do soda because you don't like the I don't know why people don't like the carbonation. So it's not a big deal. I'd much rather have my kid drink that than, like I said, regular drink soda, and no kids drinking water. Very few kids will drink water. No. So they want something with taste in it. Well, then you're going to have to give them something sugar-free. I go to the Wendy's. I told you, I go to this one Wendy's just to get the drink machine. You can they have like 600 different flavors of different drinks. They have regular sugar, but they also have diet drinks. You can get like 8 different diet Seagram's ginger ales. Daily, Dave?
You probably go in there daily.
No, I don't go anymore. But I'll go in there once or twice a week. I'll take the kids there. I'll go there, and just because I like the drink machine. And of course, my kids have to go there and try every drink because there's like 600 combinations you can make. So they're like pouring it out. Do another one. I'm like, how like when you were a kid and the electric windows on cars first came out, and your grandparents would say, "You're gonna break the windows. You can't if you keep reopening and closing them, it's gonna break." They just didn't. You were just making them a nervous wreck. They were lying to you. You're not going to break the windows, But that's how I'm like, God, you're going to break the machine. They're going to make me pay for it. I'm going to be like, you're going to be washing dishes in the back. When you start saying shit like that to your kids, with your parents, told you that, you're losing your mind. You're losing your mind.
I say things like, you're going to break the machine, or with the windows, I say it. I say, you're going to break the window.
I lock the window. Thank God you can lock the windows now. I don't even let my kids even play with the thing. But they're opening the moonroof, But when you start saying you're going to be washing dishes, that takes me back to my childhood. That's what they used to tell me. You want to wash dishes in the Chinese restaurant? You better behave yourself.
Yeah.
Can we get him in the back? Do you need anyone help? Anyone help back there? I'd be like, no, I don't want to go. My grandfather would be like, I know Sun Jung Ching, who owns the restaurant. Mr. Ching is going to come back here. He needs an extra helper back there to wash dishes for the rest of the night. Crazy shit we did. My father told me, he goes, you're going to get paid back. He told me this before I was even a father. He's like, you're going to get paid back when you have kids. You're going to know exactly what you were like when you were a kid. And
I hope
right.
Payback.
He was right. You love them, but they can drive you crazy too. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show. 2 weeks. We got the Italy Pro show coming up this coming week. On Wednesday, I'll be out in Pittsburgh for the North American Championship. I think this is the biggest amateur show of the year, Chris, because you know what? Not only do they have the North American, which is a pro qualifier, and it's over 5 days, but they also have a Masters division, which is almost as big as the Masters Nationals, not quite, but they're giving a lot of pro cards out for that. And then they have a pro show on Sunday for the Pro Masters. I have people in all the divisions. So I will be there from Wednesday to Monday. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty much spending the whole week with Jim Mannion and Gary Udit. So, and I was just there 2 months ago, or less than 2 months ago, for the Masters National. So, I've been in Pittsburgh more the last 2 years than I have probably for the last 8 or 9 years. You know, ever since I had my kids and COVID and all that stuff. So, and I used to go to these shows all the time. I really like it, you know. But you know, now I have my clients in it, so they're going to help me get out there and pay for, you know, some of the expenses. I'll come out there and help them. And it, you know, I love going to the show. I always meet people that I know. I make new friends all the time. And I gotta really hand it to Gary and Jim. They do a phenomenal job on that show. And it's effortless. No one's in a bad mood. Everyone is nice, because the Masters guys, they're not cranky. They're very, very grateful that they're there. And like I said, I always run into people that I've known for the last 30 years there, and it's a pleasure to go to that show. So I will be there all week long, and I'm sure we're gonna get probably 90 pro cards out of this weekend. This weekend, I have a bunch of good guys in the show. Do you have anyone in the show?
Nope.
All right. Wow, that's a first for you. What, all you guys waiting for nationals?
Waiting for the Olympia. I've got 12 people in the Olympia.
No, I know you got a big lineup at the Olympia, but you help a lot of the top amateur guys.
Oh, I've cut way.
Oh, why cut back, Chris? It doesn't pay.
No, I don't, because I don't need the pay.
Doesn't pay.
I don't need the headache.
Hey, you know, before we end the show, you know how I have the Blackman puppet? I don't even know where it is. It's on the shelf someplace. You know, remember the Blackman and the George Farrar puppet I have?
Oh yeah.
We used to have a segment called Muscle Puppets, and I should have stuck with doing this. My kids watch this puppet YouTube channel called Jeffy. You know who Jeffy is? He's like a puppet with this kid with a pencil through his nose, and he curses. He's like a troublemaker. My son thinks he's the funny. I can't even let him watch it. The language is so bad. I can't even let him watch it. But they love this Jeffy thing. So I go to the mall the other day with the kids, and let me tell you, this you can't let the kids watch this YouTube channel. He curses like crazy. They got a puppet. They got a Jeffy puppet. That's the muscle puppets. This Jeffy puppet, they're selling for $40-$50 in the mall, Chris. I guarantee you, this Jeffy YouTube channel. Pull up the Jeffy YouTube channel, but don't play the audio.
Dave,
the Jeffy YouTube channel probably makes $1 million a year. This thing. If I would have stuck with muscle puppets, I would have been a wealthy man today.
I told you to expand the muscle. Sid, I told him expand the muscle puppet show because it was so funny.
You know what? I have good ideas and then I don't follow through sometimes.
No, I told you. Continue with the muscle puppet show. You could make a Ronnie puppet, a Kai puppet.
I should have. I don't know why I didn't. There it is. You see this thing with the pencil? He's got the pencil through his nose. And my kid, they know all the characters on there. They must talk about this stuff in school, these kids. Everyone must watch this thing.
The puppets aren't even as good as your puppet.
No, they're not. The Blackman and the George Farrar puppet are way better than these things. These are like not even cool puppets. Even Jeffy's not that good. But they want $50 in the mall. They're selling all these Jeffy and these other character puppets. That's how popular they are. And I blew it. I had a chance at I got to bring back muscle puppets now. With all my free time, I got to focus on that now. So I had the idea first. I'm just going on record as saying it. You know what? The answer to my conundrum is, if you want to be successful at anything, you got to stick with it. You can't stop. And people ask me all the time, Dave, how can I be successful with my social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook? What's the recipe for success? Because I want to make money on social media. I said consistency. You can't stop, because if you stop, you could be 1 hour away from making it big. You got to keep doing it. Even though some days that you might get no traction, some days you might think, oh, this sucks. But I'm telling you, over time, there it is. Over time, it's going to pay off. I promise you that. Thanks for joining us live, as always. As we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
We will see you next week.